Right, well, let's start them.
Yeah, well, the first episode of the Early Life Crisis podcast.
Yeah, so basically, we'll let Kieran start it
Why am I the one to start it?
since you're the host of this.
How am I the host? Well, I'm
you?
technically
He's
the host of the meeting.
Exactly.
Okay.
So you've got the recording power right now.
Well, Luke is the leader of the group, so.
I don't think.
All right. Well, by those statistics, I shall start.
Okay. Yeah.
So I am Marcus.
Supposed to send who we are. Let's say who we are in relation to film. So, I'm a writer. Just out of film school.
Well, I feel like we should still say our names just. For
and I'm Luke. Yeah.
I'll say our first name. Right. I'll do it from here. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. So I am Marcus, and I am currently I'm a cameraman trying to be a cinematographer, and I've finally just finished uni, as well as these two right here, and we'll introduce the next person.
Yeah, my name's Kieran Little, and I'm also a person that just finished uni with all of these guys, and I want to be a director or writer or something. We'll find out eventually, but somewhere around those lines, But yeah, we just finished uni together. How was uni, guys?
Indeed. Well, we need Luke to introduce himself.
Luke went first.
I kind of went first.
Oh, I don't know if we're keeping that or not.
Yeah.
Oh no, Luke introduced
because I spoke over you. I was like, oh yeah, that's fine.
No, it's okay. Luke.
Well, we're established. We don't need to keep that
Luke,
bit.
Just go again.
Yeah, just go.
Okay. Yeah, well, I'm Luke. I am a cinematographer.
Retry.
Yeah. All right, let's move on.
Right. Well, but I was talking over him in the first one. I was like, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. That's fine. All right, let's let Luke go.
Well, I'm Luke. I'm a writer and part sometime director, but mostly writer. And yeah, and as the same as Kieran, we'll see where that goes. But they're my specialities, and I'm also just out of film school. So
yeah,
nice.
Out of film university, which is
university's finally over after 3 years of uni.
Yeah, so now we got to move into
filming multiple films.
Yeah, we got to move into the professional realm now. We got to actually start starting our lives. It's the first time in our lives where we're no longer in the education system.
It's true,
which is fun.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we're doing here. This is supposed to kind of document our experiences, our hurdles in the film industry, and see where that goes. And we want to talk to a lot of different filmmakers and people in and around this industry along the way, see how we can improve our own standing in the industry, but also just get a kind of honest perspective of the industry as a whole, and see what the tips and tricks of it are, because we're as unknowledgeable as the average person at the moment, really.
Yeah,
it's true, to be fair.
Yeah, follow our
journey.
Actually,
speak for yourself, mate.
Yeah. We forgot about Marcus.
I'm knowledgeable, man. I'm a knowledgeable.
Working on several big projects.
Yeah, I could be a Liverpool cameraman coming up soon, as we talked about in the last. Well, I guess that's not going to be released, but
yeah,
disclose that anyway.
Yeah. Well, what are you guys' what are your guys' ambitions? Like, if you could have any job you wanted in any space and creatively, what would you go for?
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess I'm definitely someone who wants to make narrative fiction films.
No.
I'm on that track. I guess I'm quite traditionally interested in screenwriting. I find television really interesting, which I guess we can get into, because I know Kieran, you're the same. I think just overall narrative screenwriting is really my bag, and that's kind of in contrast with say Marcus, who's on the other side of the film industry.
Me, Marcus, or of Marcus?
No, you.
Oh, no, I was just making sure.
Yeah. Yeah. What about you, Marcus? What if you could have any creative job at all? Like, what would be your
I
true
mean, to be
chosen
fair,
job?
like just being a cinematographer, to be honest, would be sick. Like that
Yeah.
would probably out of the creative jobs, either that or I would want to do like our film. It would probably be like to do sports cameraman, like sports
Yeah.
camera work, or being like the head of sports camera work eventually,
So
Yeah.
if you
like
were,
football. Yeah, no, I definitely could.
whereas I guess me and Luke probably have the same thing, but I think it's a lot more confusing as to how we do that.
Yeah, it's for sure a lot more confusing,
Yeah.
and I guess with like directing, I in a way I would say running is the first job like that. I
Yeah,
feel like in the same way that like maybe third AC is for cat like cinematographer, running maybe for directing, like on that
Yeah.
logical track to,
Yeah.
but for writing, there's really nothing on set. Um, and as we
yeah.
know, like the writing community is very locked off. It's very like insular. It's very nepotistic, and it's
I
very
feel like writing's
um.
more something
So
where you have to definitely pitch that to people.
because it's also writing is not writing is in pre-production. It's not even in production. Um,
Yeah.
I
We
mean,
don't.
obviously, you look at like certain writers, and they're more involved with a production. And I guess me and you, Kieran, would say we're the kind of writers that would definitely like to be involved in production, particularly with our own scripts.
Yeah.
Um, we're I mean, as you said earlier, you don't like letting go of your scripts, and I would like relate
That's
to that.
another thing I feel like personally, like what do you both think that like obviously I know you don't want to let go of your scripts and all, but I feel like it's something that you're gonna have to get used to no
Yeah,
matter what.
Yeah.
Like you're
Yeah.
just gonna
Definitely.
have to like and obviously I'm not a screenwriter, so I don't know like the complete feeling, but I know it probably sucks giving your scripts up to someone else. But I think
Well, I mean,
a good chance for you guys is like writing scripts and then handing that over to people and like getting them to or like pitching it to like directors or production companies and like and then like trying to get a job on that. Obviously, get a job through that as well because obviously since you wrote it, you could
yeah.
probably try and get like
You can
another
sell
job
your
on the
scripts
film.
and stuff. Well, I guess that is
But
why I want to be a director.
yeah,
So
like,
I
what
don't
do you
have to
guys
do
think
that.
personally that like you have to give up? Like, you're just gonna have to accept the fact that
It's
you're gonna have to
hard,
give up
man,
scripts
because you know all the characters so well, and it's like, I mean, there's a lot of people that probably wouldn't mind doing that, but
because
we
directors
want
could
to be
very
directors
easily
as
do a
well. So,
different approach to what you think like you're like it's gonna be,
yeah. I mean,
and that could
I
definitely
think
like annoy you.
on an emotional level, screenwriting is possibly the most like because you have to spend so much time on your own with that kind of world you created in terms of the. I mean, obviously, this is kind of coming from my perspective as a screenwriter. So, I don't want to undermine any other element of filmmaking, but I feel like at the point where you are at, you are the only person sometimes on a film project. Like it starts with you. So the idea of separating something you're working on. It's kind of, as you say, it's kind of like with novels. There's, it never gets made into anything, so it
yeah.
always stays with just you. But with screenwriting, you do have to let it go, and I guess that process.
Well, I definitely would feel comfortable letting it go if it's to like someone I trust and that
Yeah,
I can like talk through the characters and like. But I
Well,
guess
that's the
you
thing.
don't
But
like
like
early
in
on
the
we won't
future, you
obviously
won't be
and
have
able
that.
to like
Yeah, yeah.
you
and
probably won't be
also
able to.
Well,
To
no,
be
I
honest.
in
I
the future, hopefully we'll have more.
I
Well,
mean
obviously when you're more successful, but I mean like yeah,
Yeah,
early
yeah,
on.
but like
also
early on, it'll probably be a lot
Yeah.
harder. You just have
I
to sell scripts and
I
kind of
guess like you can write scripts around knowing how involved you're going to be in later processes. Say if I wrote a script and I was like, I know this is just to make money, or I know this is something that can be used to maybe make something else. You do have to make those compromises, I think. And I think part of the film industry, a big part of the film industry is compromising. And it is um figuring out how to lose some but also take some at the same time.
Because you also
Um
still will get a role, right? I'm pretty sure you still get the writer's role. I don't know if you get the direct writer's role because
no,
obviously
I mean
it might,
you'll get credited
but
either way.
you'll
I
still
think
be credited, which is like another good thing, I
but
guess. Like it's like stuff that you could put because like what you could do is you could kind of write ideas, give it up, and obviously try not to think about it too much. And then like when it gets like made and like you can probably have a chance. I don't know how it works. I've never really looked into it to be honest with you, but like surely there's some sort of like right. Well, obviously you give your rights up, so I don't know if you have all. That's what I mean. Like you don't
well
actually.
I'm
I don't know
almost
if you have all
talking
rights.
there's
But
a
could you
thing.
technically add it to your portfolio and say that?
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean for
yeah,
sure.
you
And
I
you
wrote this.
still wrote it, But
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I mean. So you
Well,
can
I
always
think
add
there's
like
also the
film to your
idea.
portfolio if you write like a really good feature length film and it
well,
turns out to be really good.
towards
That'd be pretty good, right?
towards the end of uni, we did actually have a project where we had to like write a script and then pass it on to like directors in the uni that would make the
Yeah.
script for us, which was very,
Oh, that
which
was
was actually
awful though.
quite. I actually found that quite fun.
It
I
was
think it's
fun,
because it was a
but it was
1 minute
very
script, so I didn't.
unorganized.
Yeah,
When it comes to selling scripts, like, and you know you're going to sell it, you could just have that mindset and be like,
yeah,
to be fair, this will be actually really fun to just like create a script that you feel like you would find it
yeah.
fun to
But
watch someone else make, if that makes sense.
but that's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like when you create a script that you believe is like the best, like a script you're really proud of and you really care
Yeah,
about,
then obviously you
that's
want to
the kind of hard
have that for
script to.
yourself.
That's the kind of script that's hard to give away, and obviously you want every
But
script
then
to
also,
be like that
yeah,
because
like if
that
you're
will
giving
make
scripts
it.
away, then you want them to be good.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So you can't just give away scripts that you don't care about because then it probably
They're not
means
good,
none of your
probably.
scripts are very good. Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, but also I think, I mean, as I was saying earlier, you kind of got to like know where you're at as a screenwriter. You got to know um how what stage you're at and what ability you're at to. I mean, and this cuts both ways. If we're say making an independent film, say we make an independent film, then we're fine. Then we can be emotionally attached to it as much as we want,
mm.
because even if it may not go anywhere,
Yeah, but
um,
that's for like your,
and
yeah, exactly.
and then say compare that to where you could potentially be making money, where you could potentially be doing stuff. Um, you just say, okay, yeah, I know where I'm at with this script. I know what potential I I have to control this project. Or even, I mean, as I said earlier, there's projects that never get made. You'll write a script and it will never get made, and it will get bought of you, and you'll make money, but it doesn't go anywhere.
Sometimes
Um,
they'll make a whole film and then they'll not release it for money
yeah,
reasons.
exactly. I mean, that's a new thing that they're
Yeah,
doing. I mean, so it's stuff like this where you do kind. We are under like the will of like the business side of filmmaking, the
yeah,
capitalist side of filmmaking, as opposed to the creative, artistic side of filmmaking. And I guess those two clash quite a lot because they're quite
yeah,
contradictory, and you just have to deal with that to survive, I guess, in this industry. But I wanted to maybe move on from like the industry and talk about the idea of filmmaking as a creative endeavor, and what our creative outlets are, and what really inspires us, and the films that inspire us, and
yeah,
and
yeah.
what we're interested
I
in.
thought I thought a good question that we could all answer is like what was the thing that like originally got us into filmmaking and what
Yeah.
originally was your inspirations from the start.
I mean, to be honest with you, like, obviously you both know
We know
I'm
the
not like
reasons.
the biggest film person
Yeah,
out of all the film students in uni. I definitely don't win that medal. But like, either way, like, to be honest, obviously my personal reason obviously is the whole YouTube stuff, and that is obviously why I'm in film uni. And obviously it is quite dumb how that is the way like I'm in film uni, but I guess either way, I didn't completely like nothing really like motivated me before uni, but I'd say now that I've actually studied filmmaking, like I'd
yeah.
say I could definitely say films that inspire me to carry on
Well, Marcus, what
filmmaking.
what is the YouTube stuff like?
Well, the YouTube
What's
stuff
the
was
hook
kind of
there?
like my whole. Obviously, I know a lot of people are like this, and I'm sure when you're younger, a lot of your dream job was to do YouTube, and that obviously that was my dream job as well. And
Yeah.
I mean, I still would say it is my dream job. To be honest with you, it would be like just yeah, I'd love to do it as a job, but I think yeah, the main reason why I came uni was because like I was thinking, how can I be a better YouTuber than everyone else when I start? Which bear in mind, I still haven't started, so
I
I
definitely
haven't
feel
really
like
won that. But
YouTube
I
has
literally
spawned a new generation of.
that's what I mean. Like when you grew up watching YouTube, you kind of like I just wanted to be like that was what I wanted to do. Like making videos like that would be so fun.
Yeah,
So I kind of just thought like the best way of like getting that upper edge was learning how to actually like film properly and edit properly, and that's why I went to like a filmmaking uni so I
Well,
could
like,
learn filming and editing.
I mean, you're kind of like when you first said that. Oh, it was the YouTube stuff. I guess there's the sense of like you were demeaning it a bit as like, oh, it's not real filmmaking, but like I
Well, it's
guess
because it's not
YouTube
like
is like a new
filmmaking
yeah, it's a
industry
creative
wise,
outlet.
it's a
but
new
it's more
form of
creative
filmmaking. So
filming.
I
Yeah,
still think there's like stuff. You
And
know, I don't think it's totally separate to filmmaking, and
And
I
I
think
still
that's a
don't know what
legitimate.
type of videos
Like,
I would make.
yeah.
there's
So,
lots of cases of YouTubers that have gone to, like, you have the Raka Raka, they're
Exactly.
killing it
yeah,
right now with the new
they
Street
made
Fighter
yeah.
film and the
I mean,
A24
even
stuff.
if you look at people
Bo Burnham.
like, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
exactly. Like a lot of people are now breaking through, and I think, like, even if you look at people like, say like Nico and Milana, like those kind of, they're making
He's on
films.
Netflix now.
They are making films. Like they are
Oh, I need
films.
to
Yeah.
watch
They
his
may be
latest
on
video.
YouTube and they may be for free, but like they are making films. So
Yeah.
like,
Well, that's the stuff I would like. Obviously, I don't know what content I'd want to do, but when I first like had a thought of it, it was more just like whatever videos I do make, I just want to make sure they're filmed like to like a good quality standard and also edited to a good quality standard.
Yeah.
And then I guess like
Back in the
yeah,
day,
that basically inspired me into the whole. That's why I do videography and editing is genuinely because of that.
back in the day, you could literally just film yourself like drinking.
Yeah, and I
this
wish that
guy
I
eating a
kind of jumped
banana.
on it then because I
Yeah,
feel like
But
I
now, if
maybe
you see the
might not have had to do
quality,
3 years of uni. But
yeah. But now, if you see like the quality of some of these videos,
But that's what I
like,
mean.
how
Like
much
you
business-
can't
they
really
are actually
compete.
like films.
Like yeah, like everyone's just kind of had the same mindset, but they
There are
kind
some
of just did it.
incredibly well-made videos out there, like that probably
Yeah,
could count.
like Nico's films are so good.
Yeah,
Calix's
they're
films,
literally like documentaries to some
like
extent.
Mr. Beast. Most of the time, his film, his videos.
I mean,
are
like Marcus
yeah,
on the
they've
more
upped the standard a lot, and it's definitely on a more film industry level now.
on the more
Especially the Sidemen too. Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you again, but
yeah.
like the Sidemen, how they film now is like back in the day they would just kind of film just them seven. They'd probably have like one or two cameramen, but that's it. But like now, if you look at it now, it's more like they're like a company where they literally.
I mean, they're
like a film
pretty
company
huge productions as
where
well.
they
Like,
yeah, they literally have
they're
like
proper film sets.
they
at
have
this point.
they have their own sets now. They have like probably 50,
I mean, not like
they have like
not like
50 camera
narrative film
people.
sets, Kieran, but like
Well,
they are sets.
speaking as someone that's actually been on like one of these sets, because obviously at one point I went on a
Or the game show,
TikTok
yeah.
game show, and that still is like the most crazy set I've been on. They had like
Mm.
big cranes, and this is just for a live TikTok show for Lad Bible, but it was like it's still like the craziest.
Yeah, I
Like,
remember.
and that's just like a
Going on a
small.
big set would be crazy.
Yeah, and that's just like
Like-
a small TikTok live show. If you
That's
see some
right,
of these,
exactly.
what goes
Well, that
into
was
some
Lab
of these
Bible,
YouTube
right?
videos is crazy.
Was it Lab Bible?
That was Lad Bible, yeah.
Well, obviously, I mean, it is still like a small. Obviously, there's still like a big page, but like I know what you mean. Like it's not like a crate. Like in college, I went to a live performance of like I think it was Celebrity Catchphrase. It was, and it was like a TV, like like one of the TV shows that they show like Catchphrase, like one of the. And going to like that studio, like you're right with the cranes, like literally when you actually like see, it was quite a few years ago, but like I remember it was just like. They had like 3 massive cranes and like the cameramen, like there were just so many people there, and it wasn't even like a big set. It was probably like the size of like the uni sets.
Yeah,
But like they have so many people, it's just crazy.
it definitely made it a lot more intimidating to.
I guess, like-
Yeah, bro. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, nah, screw that, man.
Yeah,
I feel bad for those celebrities, bro.
yeah,
They're celebrities, so they're used to it, but still.
yeah. Imagine being a small YouTuber growing up playing like Among Us on your PC, and then suddenly you get invited onto like a Sidemen shoot in front of these massive cameras.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
I'd be like,
I'd be like, what do I do?
Yeah.
But I guess that's what makes you big.
Yeah.
Talking about like more traditional filmmaking, I guess. Do you have a particular inspiration there? Particular
Yeah, I'd say
cinematographer or film?
Yeah,
my favourite
Those are your
films,
favourite films.
cinematography wise, Hacksaw Ridge, as you all know. Like,
Yeah.
I love. It's not even just the cinematography. I think it's the sound work, like the soundtrack, the editing, and the cinematography. All 3 of them, I just love it. Another one, the main one that I always like refer back to when I actually like kind of went into film or like kind of likes films was Dunkirk.
Mm.
Dunkirk was another one. Obviously, I know these are war films.
Just
That's just
war
like the
films,
genre
yeah.
I like.
Yeah.
But that is only because war
Well-
films tend to have like nice cinematography because that kind of makes them good war films. Is having like sick cinematography.
Do you have
I'd say out of war genre. I mean, yeah, out of war. I'd say camera work wise. There's so many films that are just done so well that it's like so hard to say inspirational ones that like I'd love. But to be honest,
I mean,
a lot
I
of
guess
people have a lot of people have a specific film that they watch for the
I'd
first
say
time
the
and was
one
like,
film
this
that,
makes
like,
me want to be
really-
a filmmaker.
really maybe like
Yeah,
want to
yeah.
get into film would probably be. I mean, yeah, it would have to be Hacksaw Ridge, to be honest.
Yeah,
Nothing can beat that. Like for me, like just personally, just because like the experience I felt when I first watched that, I just like I was
drawing
just
like
like loved it.
drawn away from like outside of like a specific film, I guess what like I mean I guess I kind of think I know the answer because you're a cinematographer, but what really draws you to a film? Is it just the kind of like ability for the imagery to be mixed with the sound in that way? What draws you to a film like inherently?
Yeah, I think it would be. It's always been cinematic stuff. Like cinematography has just been like the go-to. That's kind of what I loved in YouTube was actually like cinematic stuff. Like cinematography is just I love it. I don't know why. I just love crisp 4K looking shit.
Yeah,
It's just beautiful. So I think like, but then I also think what complements like top quality like camera work is definitely soundtracks. And
yeah,
like when you have like just a sick soundtrack that comes in during like a scene with it's like really cinematic, like obviously that's why the big ones like Star Wars, Dune 2, obviously a lot of people love the soundtrack from like Dune 2, and like Harry Potter, like you know, like a lot of things that are big about those films are literally just the soundtracks. Like if you played the Harry Potter soundtrack to me right now, I'd dead ass just sit here for like 10 hours and
yeah,
listen to that whole shit.
Start crying.
Honestly, it's so good. Like that, I could genuinely just listen to that soundtrack just by itself. Like it's just the way they do sound with video. It just creates a scene to be like beautiful and
yeah,
perfect.
Yeah, well, they did a screening of the original Star Wars film before they made the music, and all the directors were like, "Oh, this is a great kids film," or this
Well,
is,"
that's what I mean. Like
and the music came in, and then everyone was like, "Oh my god,
I'm sure like you guys can
elevated
agree
it
with
so
this,
much."
I mean,
especially
I
with
think
filmmaking.
soundtracks are one of the most important.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
the
Like
like
I can, yeah, 100%.
because it very I mean sound. There's that Michael Moore quote that like you can like the camera can look shit whatever the like whatever can be bad about the film, but if the sound is off, then no one's ever gonna
Well, yeah,
respect
and
the film because
that's what I mean. It
I think there
sounds
is
so
like an inherent
important.
need for because it's I guess it's the audio visual experience that is totally original and it makes the artwork of filmmaking totally original and unlike um uh any other piece of artwork. Um and I guess Kieran, I would ask you the same question like what draws you to film inherently from your perspective as a writer and director, what really draws you to a film, and have you got any examples of films
uh,
that are like that?
yeah. Well, definitely for me, different from Marcus, but it's definitely like the characters and like a lot of it is the acting as well. I love like
Yeah,
really moving acting performances, really well written characters, and just
I think
relating to
that's
like
like
the people of it. And I definitely am more invested in the story side of it. But like
that definitely
seeing,
shows how you like
yeah,
screenwriting though, because obviously like
yeah,
mine's to do with camera work, which makes sense because obviously I'm a cameraman. So I feel
yeah,
like yours being like the characters and stuff and like the actual story makes like a lot more sense because it obviously
yeah.
and you're probably learning from it like I'm like learning from like watching the camera work.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I would say if like for specific examples, I would say Manchester by Sea is a great one. One of
yeah,
the my favorite
Sure,
acting
I
performances
haven't
of all
seen that.
time.
it's
Is
a
that good?
It's a good
great
film,
film.
good film.
What's it
And
called?
Some good
Manchester by
cinematography in
Sea,
there as
good
well, I think,
cinematography.
right?
Manchester by Sea or
Yeah, I
Manchester
think
Yeah,
it's
by
really
Sea.
I
really
think
nicely shot.
tonally that's like one of the kind of films
Yeah,
I would love to make. And
Shit,
then
wait, I'm gonna
a
search that
lot
up
of
real quick.
Noah Baumbach stuff is a very
Never heard. Bro, I've never heard of these films. You know, damn.
me and Luke watched Manchester by the Sea. Well,
yeah,
we've seen it before.
it's a great film.
Great
It's
film.
Manchester by the
I
Sea.
mean,
You said.
Yeah, Manchester by the Sea. It's got
I
Casey Affleck in it, who's I
I
Oh
think
shit! Yeah,
problematic.
yeah. I think I've seen a little bit on this. Not actually watched it.
It's one of my favorite acting performances, maybe of all time.
Yeah, well, it's got a lot of good ratings. Yeah, no, I'll
Yeah,
watch it.
it's just incredible film. Really, I mean, picking up on
I'll watch that.
character particularly, I think that's where we're similar. Karen,
yeah.
it really like character for me as well is one of the most vital
Obviously, I love
parts
characters
of
too. Like
filmmaking.
that is obviously what made like I love like the characters in like Hacksaw Ridge. That does make it good. But I think I think definitely for you guys, it makes way more
But
sense for
no,
you to like characters
I
rather than
also
just
agree with you, Marcus. Is also that would be the main thing for me, but it's also cinematography
yeah. Like it just well,
and
that's
the
the thing. It just
music is definitely one of
enhances.
the main
It
things.
just
Yeah,
enhance. Well, all those
what's
things like together just enhances the
Well, I
whole
mean, I
the
thing.
think that's
greatest cinema experience of my entire life was when I saw Everything Everywhere All at Once with Luke, and
yeah,
that for
You
me
know, I
that film
still
was like
haven't watched that yet.
that's crazy. For me, that film was
that's.
like everything about
Oh,
it was like the acting, the cinematography, the story, the
I'm
I
music.
watching
mean,
that in VR
That film
cinema
was
when I
perfect.
can watch that in VR. By
Oh,
the way, to everyone at home, Everything Everywhere All at Once is Kieran's favorite film of all time,
Yeah, yeah.
and he's very very strict on what films he would class as his favorite film of all time. Like he wouldn't just do that like randomly. Like it has to be chosen, and I
Yeah.
think Everything Everywhere All at Once is the chosen one.
Well, give us yours, Luke. What's your film that?
Yeah, Luke. What's
Yeah, I
your
mean,
story?
I think I could guess yours, but I don't know if I'll get it right.
I
well,
could.
I mean,
Should we
I've
right?
got.
Me and Kieran both to say one guess.
Go on,
and we'll
yeah,
see.
yeah.
I would say the one that you have tattooed onto your arm.
Oh shit! Fuck. Yeah, that makes sense.
Marcus, what were you gonna do?
I was gonna say Old Bill.
What?
Is it called Old Bill?
what is that?
What was that one that he went to go
Old
see?
Bill.
In the
Monkey Man.
New York.
Do you mean Old Boy?
Old Boy.
Old boy.
Old
is a
Boy.
great one, to be
Old
fair.
Boy is a
I
great-
just know that you really like that film,
It's in my top 10 for sure. I love Old Boy.
but I don't know why I didn't
Um,
say Cinecone.
Yeah, Synecdoche, New York.
So, how do you say it? Sorry.
Synecdoche, New York is probably my favorite film. I mean, I guess I'm similar to you, Kieran. I'm really character focused.
Yeah.
I think actually, like, possibly, and like it reflects my writing to the detriment of my ability for structure. Maybe I'm very much like someone who is interested in character and social dynamics within films. I guess that you would probably say the same because we've both got semi acting backgrounds. I mean,
Yeah.
like there's that connection there, and I think with films like Synecdoche, with films like, I mean, Old Boy is another pretty good example. I think of a really strong character film.
Yeah.
Although that's also just a great action film.
I definitely think learn how to act makes you a better both writer and director.
Well, I think for sure, and I think
Yeah.
honestly, learning how to direct and write also makes you a
Yeah.
better actor.
Well,
I think they're so like
it's because they're
people always
literally like
say
the two roles that
Yeah.
work together.
Well, people
Yeah.
always say like if you want to be a director, like take some acting classes. But I don't ever hear people talking about how I genuinely think it like really makes it so much easier for me to write as well because I kind of
because I think that kind of like holy trinity, I guess, of roles
Yeah.
on that's it's its own separate dynamic. The writer, the director, and the actor, and how that
I think
plays
that writers also, when you're an actor, obviously you're reading scripts as well. So like,
Yeah.
you probably like don't realize
that's
you're
true,
taking in like writing, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
So
and
you're-
also I think when you're writing scripts, it's good to know how to act because you kind of can be more sympathetic to the actor maybe when you're writing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get some
I
scripts.
think
you
having
relate
the
to the
ability
actor a little
to
bit more, or like the character.
I think being
Yeah.
able to like having the skill of like improv it makes it
Yes.
easier for me to write. Like
Well, I think
Yeah.
as a writer as well, when you're writing a character, you kind of have a vision of how they're going to act, like in your
Yeah.
head. So
Yeah,
like
yeah,
when it
exactly.
becomes to,
That's
like,
another reason
when
why
you're
I like
constantly
acting
doing
and
that
stuff.
with other characters, like when you're
Yeah.
writing so many other characters. Obviously, I know like Kieran, you're acting like I know like you kind of base kind of your characters kind of similar wise on like how they would act.
Yeah.
But like either way, like you kind of have like it just kind of shows that like when it comes to acting, you kind of probably distinctively like kind of act how you think you would from writing, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, and I guess that's like the side that really draws me into filmmaking, that dynamic.
Can we take it a step back as well and like talk about what it was that got you into filmmaking, Luke, and what made you decide that you wanted to pursue it as a career?
I mean, I can point to like a few examples of like piece of media that really got me involved in filmmaking and wanted to do it seriously. I know like the first kind of experience that I had, where I was like, I have to kind of be a filmmaker, I have to write, was like Breaking Bad, I would say, and also Gone Girl was a huge one for me when I watched Gone Girl.
I need to watch Gone Girl actually.
David
That's
Fincher
another
is
one I
one of
really
my-
wanted to
I mean,
watch.
Finch is one of my favorite.
Yeah.
I'm a
Social
typical
Network and Gone
film bro.
Girl.
But
Who's
yeah,
the famous
Finch
actor that's in
is
Gone Girl again?
it's Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Is the
Yeah.
main guy in Gone Girl. But yeah, I mean, I guess like films like that. But I guess more holistically, as filmmaking as a genre,
Yeah.
genre of art, I think I just love, and I'm sure you guys can connect to this as well. the idea that it feels like every single great piece of artwork or art come together. Like you have the visuals,
100%, yeah.
and you have the audio, and you have the storytelling, and it's all mashed into one in such like a symphony of like I just love it, and I think that's what really connected me to filmmaking, growing up, and what made it, because I think I've always been someone who is into the arts. I've always known that art is the kind of space that I want to be in.
Yeah.
But I think the idea of filmmaking being such like a magistry of all of the arts together
Do you remember
is so
how?
interesting.
Do you remember how young you were when you decided that you wanted to do filmmaking?
I mean, I think it's always like from the minute I started watching films. I think I started probably taking it seriously at around 12. I mean, I'm sure you did the same thing,
Yeah.
making films, with on whatever phone you got or whatever. Um, uh, just like making any kind of films you can on whatever you can make them on. And I'm sure you're the same where, um, but I think I've always been drawn to filmmaking, but I think, I don't know, around 12 is when I started really taking it seriously. I was like, this could be something that I do as a career, and I do as a thing. But I don't know. What would you say about that? Because I know we're quite similar. I think in the way we view filmmaking.
Well, I'm definitely similar to both of you. I've got a bit of both in there. Whereas
Yeah,
YouTube was definitely the thing that got me like into, I guess, into mixing everything together and getting doing like the editing. And because before that, I think I was primarily, as a kid, my dream had always been to be an author. I even had do you guys remember when you used to have like authors come into your primary schools and stuff?
yeah.
Yeah, I remember having an author come in and I wrote him my own story. I used to write like a new story every week and be obsessed with Ryan. And then I wrote him a story and he like picked me up and put me on the table and like said to the whole class that I was going to be a Ryan one day. And that's like one of my
Yeah,
favorite childhood memories. I've just wanted to write like
yeah,
my whole life and love telling stories. But I've also had music and loved like writing music and YouTube that got me into editing and cinematography, photography, which was like a big passion of mine. I wanted to be a photographer for a while, and then yeah, like you were saying, like I just realized all these things, kind of there's
yeah,
elements of them in filmmaking. So filmmaking is just like I just love like all creative things, and filmmaking is the my favorite way where you can do everything, which I guess is why I want to be a director. Like another reason why I want to be a director is because you kind of get to be involved in like every little bit of it,
yeah, yeah.
rather
I mean, I
than be
think
a writer. Yeah,
that's the awesome job of
yeah,
being a director. You are the composer of the
yeah,
of
yeah.
the project, and that's like such an, and I guess like building off what you were saying about like storytelling. I think I'm similar to you. It's like always about like the idea of storytelling, whatever form. Like you said, you novels and stuff.
Yeah,
Uh, that's what you wanted to do, and I think the idea of storytelling really is the original connection, I guess, to why
yeah,
filmmaking
definitely.
is so cool. And I think I'm similar to you, and not in the terms of like novels, but I also was like originally, I think acting was also a huge thing that got me into filmmaking, because I've been doing acting
Mm,
stuff for quite
yeah.
a long time, and I think the idea of acting um is really interesting.
Well, funny enough, I think YouTube is also is the thing that got me into acting as well because you definitely have to
Yeah,
put on like a performance for the
I mean,
Yeah,
YouTube is such an interesting cultural
it's
phenomenon in
just a
terms of
yeah,
like
weird
our
little
generation
like
and the
yeah,
access to filmmaking. Like filmmaking, was like something on TV or
yeah.
something
well, that's what I
on
mean. It was like the
on the
kind
big
of big
screen, but now it's
It
like
just made
big
so much
break.
you
more.
can just make films
It's such a
if you
great
have a
creative
phone
outlet for
or a
It's like
camera.
people.
You
one of
can
the
just,
best.
yeah,
It's literally like the best place to kind of like the fact it's became so popular shows why it's so good is because like you literally can like upload whatever video you want and people can literally just like it's like a literal like platform where people you can just watch whatever video you can think of. You can just type in, and because there's so many people on this world that know YouTube that just post any video, random videos, most of the time you literally just find what you literally just find whatever you want, and it's just like a perfect platform to kind of like put yourself out there if you're like in the creative aspect and like you don't know what like you don't know where to start or like you don't know what to do. Like obviously when you're in school, and that's why like a lot of kids do YouTube is because like you can't really do anything else other than
Yeah.
like creatively. You know what I mean? Like you can't just go out and make a film if you wanted to, or you can make like I mean, I guess you can make like music videos and stuff, but then where are you going to post them? Like, you know
Rest
what I
in
mean?
peace,
Like,
Vine, man.
Yeah.
exactly. Vine. Oh, bro, Vine was
I
so
miss Vine,
good,
man.
man. Oh, if
Bro, Elon Musk was saying he's going to bring it back because Twitter.
like what they should do, yeah, is just let us just download the app again.
I just want to see
Just,
my old Vines.
just yeah, I just want to just see like I just want to be able to see Vine. Like, it's like even if it just lets us. But the thing is, if they bring back Vine again, it's just gonna get ruined.
Yeah, that's true.
Like the whole reason why Vine was so good was just because like that's just the comedy back then.
TikTok has
But
killed
the comedy
any
now
chance
is like
Vine had to come back, I think.
that's
Yeah.
what I mean. Like TikTok basically is Vine without the limits, and it's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, like it's just I guess Vine kind of paved the way for TikTok, really, and that kind of
Vine
like
was so
social media.
iconic, man. The fact
And
that
like that's why like YouTube and Vine were like kind of the two iconic platforms because
imagine
they
if
were
they
like
deleted
very
YouTube,
similar but in different ways.
like they did,
YouTube,
right?
I think if they deleted YouTube, that's like a massive part of the internet gone.
Yeah, literally.
Because
Well,
like
you know-
literally YouTube is so much to it that it's not even like it's just a website. It's literally like a whole like I don't know how to describe it, bro. Like if YouTube didn't exist, like a lot of stuff that you want to do would be 10 times harder to do. Like you couldn't just edit
Everyone
because
just
like
becomes
you
a
would have to
Vimeo star.
yeah, because like the way I get into film and like learn how to do films and like edit and is kind of by watching YouTube videos and like
Yeah.
especially editing wise. Like if I ever have a question or like if I'm ever stuck editing, I'll just type in on YouTube, find the
Yeah.
solution straight away.
It's not
If
just
that
for
didn't
filmmaking.
exist,
That's for like literally.
that's like literally
Yeah, I
everything.
mean, you can.
So I mean, like
Yeah.
I guess YouTube is definitely like a creative platform, like probably the biggest creative platform out that competes with like film industry.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, if I was to say myself, like.
Well, yeah.
But
well,
I mean,
I'd
I
say,
guess we
I'd
can,
say
in
for
a
the
more,
last topic, I'd say we should
rounding up
steer away
sense.
from film and we should talk about TV. And I feel like I kind of want to know your like perspectives
yeah,
on like
you did mention
what
it
your
earlier.
what your opinion is
Yeah.
on like. Obviously, I know that you want to write films and stuff, but like, what would be your opinion on writing scripts for like TV shows and like maybe going into more TV production instead
mean,
of film? Because I would
TV
love to
person.
film TV.
I love
personally.
TV.
I prefer TV probably to film in a
yeah,
way.
In
me and
many
Luke
ways, I also
talk about
prefer
this a lot,
TV.
and I think I'm the same. I think I would actually maybe prefer writing a TV show than a film, just because it's just seeing the characters. You can get so much character development.
Well, you just get so
And
much character
like
development.
I
in
said
a TV
earlier,
show.
like character being my favorite thing, like being
Yeah,
able to
I'd
exactly.
say
spend
yeah,
that
TV
much
shows
time-
TV
definitely more of
is-
your thing.
Is the realm for character.
Because
Yeah,
like
yeah.
film's great, and you can have a really good film that connects you with characters, and that's why it makes it so great because you have a short time to kind of like connect everyone to the characters that you're going to be watching for like 2 hours. But then when it comes to TV, it's a whole different ballpark and like how
Well,
you
I
even
mean-
connect with characters in the first place. Like you have to watch probably a season, maybe depending on obviously what it is. But like you need to watch like quite a few episodes to kind of eventually connect to the character. Well, I guess actually no, it's not completely true to be fair. But you know
I
what I
mean,
mean? Like
I
it takes
also-
more longer.
I think
You
also
kind of have to be more
just
careful writing.
the ability you get to really learn from both perspectives, from an audience member perspective, but also from a writer's perspective, the ability you get to learn and understand a character and their motivation and who they are, it has just got such potential
In like TV
in
shows,
TV. Say like you take a character like Saul Goodman from the kind of Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul franchise, and that's 12 years of character development. 12 years that character was being developed over like hours at a time, and I think that ability is so fascinating from someone who is really interested in characters and who they are and what they are, and I think the on a kind of like on a deeper level, I guess the idea of filmmaking that inherently that attracts me, and I kind of said this earlier, but it is the idea of like human society and connection, and from like a almost sociological angle, and you really get that with TV, where you can really delve into a character and their motivations and their relationships and that's really really interesting.
Well, like the
Well,
amount of
I
screen time you get is like of that
Yeah,
character is
I
crazy.
may just be
Every
using
film.
this as an excuse to sneak this topic into the podcast, the first episode, in some way. But one of the best examples of this of all time, I think, is One Piece, because it's a show that has over 1,000. It's on 1,112 episodes at the moment, and the reason why it's one of the most beloved pieces of fiction of all time is the fact that you spend so long with these characters and you have
yeah.
such an
Well, that's why I feel
amount
like
of
anime
character
is like
development.
a different kind of segment to TV
Yeah,
shows. Because it's like with TV shows, it's like there's not a single TV show that's not like a kind of sitcom that has like 1,000 episodes.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because imagine a TV show of 1,000 episodes. That'd be crazy. But that's why like anime is so good as well.
I
And it's
mean,
also like you can technically screenwrite for anime too, but it's also like you can like with anime. That's why I love that. Sorry, I don't want to talk about it too much, but like that's why anime is so good because it's like you can literally watch 1,000 episodes of something and get so much character development
yeah.
and like
And the
emotional
world
connection with.
building, I love world
Like
building as well.
at
One of my
Yeah.
that
favorite
point, you're
Well, yeah,
literally
aspects.
world
so
building
developed
also
into the
is
story. Like
Yeah,
after, if you ever like finish One Piece, obviously that's like the example we're given. Like not all anime is like 1,000 episodes, but like if you do ever finish that, like the amount of character like emotional connections you'll have to like nearly all the
and
characters that you see is crazy because you
I
have
think
so much screen time with them.
yeah.
I think this is also kind of interesting because I think this is actually this way we're viewing TV and this way we're talking about the TV with the world building and with the character development is a pretty new concept in TV because I feel like the idea is TV was very serialized, or
Mm.
sorry, not very serialized, um like pre shows like The Sopranos and The Wire going back to like the early 2000s and the late 90s. And I think that like new form of TV going into things like Game of Thrones and these huge epic TV shows, and I think that's a really interesting new dynamic we have with like TV, which I think is why it makes it so appealing, to me. And yeah, I mean, I guess, what do you think of that, Kieran? Like this new era of TV where it's not just kind of put on a background sitcom like it was in maybe the early 90s, 80s, but it's like these are essentially movies. Like these are um, fully serialized, fully dramatized pieces of proper like fictional storytelling, and it almost makes like it's almost like a interesting marriage between a book and a film. I find in a way like it almost like long form TV shows, like box set TV shows, almost in ways like akin to a huge novel or a series of novels. I mean, literally, when you look at like Game of Thrones, it was a novel.
Yeah,
Um,
but that's
and
like
I
a
find that
novel.
really interesting.
Well, if you
This
look
new
at
era of
like what films are like today, how you have like the MCU, which is just massive universe, and you have like just everyone just wants sequels, and then people get mad when they make too many sequels. But then I guess TV shows are the most accepted sequels because you get mad
yeah,
if they don't make a sequel.
yeah,
In that case, so I guess
Yeah,
people love their sequels. People love their creating universes
it's because
in
it's more
films,
to watch of
and
that
yeah,
universe. You
exactly,
know,
and
like it's
that
just nice, more
like
content. You
people
can't argue with that.
exactly you want to when you watch a film unless it's done like perfectly where you don't want to see anymore and it's like a
Yeah, but
completely
like
fine.
most of the time,
A
you
lot of
want
the
to
time you
see
want
like
to
the
see
second,
a second.
and then like
Yeah,
after the
yeah.
second, you're like, oh, I don't
which
want
is
it to be done.
which
The
is
third,
why yeah
but
which is
obviously it reaches a like extent where you think it's perfect. But like I know what you mean. Like,
yeah exactly that's probably why people connect so much with TV because they just get as many sequels as they want. You could One Piece has 1,000 sequels, so
well, to
which
be
is,
fair, like as both you are writers, like what would you prefer? Honestly, like
I would prefer
realistically,
writing
if
a
you
TV
was to
show.
choose, would you choose film or TV? Because obviously you have to think of both aspects. Like I think film for TV, you're going to be working a little like quite a lot harder, I reckon, than film. Only because with TV, you not only you're writing like a script for an episode, you have to like write so many scripts for so many episodes.
well,
Like, do
also,
you
I
think
mean,
that's
to
something
be
that you'd
fair,
want to do and
what
like
I
keep
would
up,
say
or
is
would you rather write like one script bangers for
like
like films? You
on
know what I
that,
mean? Like,
Marcus, TV I think is written differently to film
Well, that's why.
in the
That's what I
sense
mean.
that,
Like, what would be
but
your style, like
like I
writing
think
wise? Would you
TV
say?
writing is more communal.
Yeah.
It's more like writers' rooms and stuff, and I do like that sense of like community and writers, and I like the idea of bouncing off ideas with a group of people, as opposed to
Well,
like
yeah, you have the
writing on your
writers'
own. But
room. Yeah.
also, I think writing on your own, is like an important task, and I think that like a marriage between the two, like you don't want. I think communal writing is great, and there's some writers' rooms. I
Well,
mean,
you
I
could
always
always do
say,
both film and TV if you really wanted to. It's a lot
yeah.
more
I
work,
mean, I
but
think
like you
the
can switch between the two.
and I think what I would say is like there are some writers' rooms which would I'd they're like the best jobs in the world. I mean, I think I've said this to you before, Kieran, but the idea of like being a writer on like something uh like prime South Park, let's say, or
Yeah.
prime
Well,
The Office,
just to
or like
sneak in
prime the
there,
Friends,
just to
or
sneak in
not the
there.
Friends, but
Always Sunny in
Friends.
Philadelphia.
Prime
Yeah,
Friends would be so fun.
just the
Yeah, that's
idea of
another.
like
Well, that's
being
the
in
other
that
thing I was
environment
going to
Always
ask
is
Sunny
about.
such.
in Philadelphia would be my
I
dream
want
job.
both
The
you guys to like
acting,
answer this as well.
writing, having full creative control where
Yeah,
you can act as the characters as well.
I
Like
mean, I
Like,
think it's just such a
yeah, I
it's
cool.
my
mean that's
that's why
definitely.
it's my favorite TV show.
I think yeah,
And
like this. That's the other thing. Would you go? I want both of you to answer. Like, would you? Do you also like? Would you prefer to do more like typical like Game of Thrones kind of style like writing? Obviously not Game of
Oh,
Thrones style particularly, but I mean like would you
like
prefer
a
to do more
sitcom
like
versus
normal like yeah like basically
like a
normal like
drama.
TV versus like sitcom? Yeah, like what type of writing would you
see,
prefer to do? Like
That is
that's
a
a
hard
fucking
question.
hard
answer
one
that too
Well,
because
I think it would
because I
be.
feel like that's interesting because it has to that also changes how you write and I kind of want to know like what's more your style because obviously you're gonna have styles and it's kind of hard to have a you can't really
Uh,
have like I mean you can but it's you either have a sitcom kind of like comedy style or
yeah,
you kind of have more like a serious drama kind of style for writing like what both what do you think you both have like what's your kind of
that's a good question, Marcus.
I think that's
That's a
a
very hard question. It would be
it's an
my
almost
dream to
impossible
be on
question.
something like Always Sunny in the writer's
Yeah,
room for that, but like, uh,
obviously you can still do both but I
I
mean like
think
what would you
I think
prefer
if
to
you were
fall into.
talking, I would rather be in the writer's room for like a comedy like that. But if it's like if I'm like writing it
Because
more
obviously
for
comedy is
like
even harder to write as well because it's so
yeah,
well, I
subjective. So
mean,
it's
comedy
like
is the hardest to write, I
that's what I
think,
mean. So
because
it's
it's
also
such
like,
not that many
do you
jokes.
think that kind
it's
of
the
puts
most
you off in a way too?
intimidating. I think it's also the most intimidating
Yeah,
one
That's
yeah,
what I
because
mean.
because
Like
if you're
I
you
kind
gotta
of don't.
like
work,
you
I
gotta. I
wouldn't
mean,
want to do
especially if
that.
you're in one of those writers' room, you gotta keep up and you gotta
yeah,
like
yeah,
be
and you've
like
got
be on track.
you've got to not want to give up and crawl in the hole every time someone doesn't like
Yeah,
what
like
you're doing.
imagine like you
Yeah,
just say
exactly.
like the funniest joke you think, and then like
Yeah,
not a single person laughs.
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
I don't think I could deal with that. Like I don't think
but
I
I
could do
also
that.
think being in that environment makes you a better writer, and I
But
think
then
it makes you a funnier
yeah,
Yeah,
like
writer
it will.
because
That's the thing. They all of
um
these experiences will probably
I mean,
benefit you.
even
But either
even
way, like, what would you want to
I
do
mean,
personally?
even in what we do, like when me and Luke write together, you have to be. It's quite a difficult dynamic to be feel confident pitching ideas and knowing you could get shot down. And even on the other
Well, that's
side,
the
like
whole
yeah.
point. There.
not
Like, that
pulling
is
someone
just
else's idea
that's what
into
you have to
ground is
learn,
really
though,
awkward.
innit?
Which
Like,
yeah, I
you
guess
have
is
to learn how to pitch.
that is something. Yeah, you
Like,
have to get because like
that's a skill in its own,
in these writers'
I
rooms, it
guess.
would be like a lot of the
Pitching.
time you just gotta like if someone doesn't like your joke, you gotta just quickly move on and not take it.
Yeah.
Well, like, that's what I mean. Be like, okay, if you
It's
don't like,
a skill
or
anyway.
yeah, like, it is literally just a skill.
Yeah.
That's why, like, that's why I'm curious on like what you
I
both would
that's
feel like your fits into
it's
more
a
your
hard
style.
question. I think drama is my favorite genre to write, but then because I love watching,
Like obviously, like so,
I
would
don't
you
know.
say you would probably choose drama over? Because I feel like you need
I
to
don't know,
think about
Marcus.
your writing style.
That's such a hard question.
It,
But
it's
it
such a
isn't.
hard one.
I know it's a
I'm,
hard one, but like, what would you
um,
say is more your writing style? What do you think you could write easier?
drama is more
Is
my
what I'm like
writing
trying to
style.
say.
Drama is more
I
my
think
writing
drama
style.
is probably what I would be more comfortable in,
But
just because there is
Yeah,
that really
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
harsh social dynamic within
But
comedy writing,
if I'm
as we
like
touched on.
if you put me in
But
a writer's
comedy is
room
would be
if
so fun.
if you put me in a writer's room with like you two or like any of my friends where you feel comfortable, then that maybe I would prefer to do that. But I think realistically, unless I have the perfect scenario where I'm basically exactly what happened with Always Sunny, then I think I'd probably prefer drama.
See, I'd be surprised, to be fair. I mean, I definitely do think like you'd both want to do like. To be honest, I'd obviously want to do like serious more than like sitcom personally.
Yeah,
Even though I do love
well, I guess
sitcoms,
there's
I just
more
think it'd be
space
more
to shine.
satisfying. Like, I think it'd be more satisfying to make like more serious TV shows.
As a cinematographer, that makes a lot
Yeah,
of sense.
well,
as well.
that is also like my aspect.
Or-
Obviously, as,
although
like,
there are some comedy shows,
but then
that
obviously I do love Always Sunny. Like, I think
You look
it'd be
at-
so fun to film Always Sunny. Like,
And-
I'd love that
well,
because it's just like the experience would be way more fun to film a
Well-
sitcom than probably a. Actually, I don't know. It's
if I'm
hard.
being honest, I would choose both. I would choose a
Yeah.
really
Well, that's
drama.
what I mean. You
I
can choose both.
like-
I just wanted to know what
I'll
your
do
like,
something
writing would
like-
fit more into.
I would do something like Atlanta or something that's like
Yeah, I
really
mean, my
funny
genre
and
is definitely dark comedy.
Dark comedy,
I would
exactly.
say, you know,
Because
dark
that's what
comedy
I was gonna
is
say,
where
like-
I'm at.
I was surprised because I feel like personally, I feel like Kieran, you'd be really good at writing sitcoms, and I feel like Luke, you'd also be like really good at doing sitcoms. Like, I feel like
I think so too. Actually,
I've always
mean,
thought
I
you
would love
two
to,
be
like-
like obviously like I feel like I've always thought you two to be like
but all the stuff I
quite
write,
big into sitcoms.
drama,
I
though.
feel like you would be able
Yeah.
to do quite a good one no matter what.
it is
But
hard.
it is obviously.
I mean,
I'd like-
I
interesting
that's
think
why,
what you
like,
guys.
A show that
Luke, do you say drama as well? By the way,
I
you said
I
you
I said I don't
probably
know.
would
Like I
You're both
I
saying
don't
dark
know.
comedy, really.
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
I
I
think
don't know if I asked. I don't know if I asked a
kind
bad
of
question.
media to not answer the question, just a typical like medium of dark comedy somewhere in
Both,
between.
yeah, that's what I was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
That's fair.
for example, Marcus, like the show that a show I really like, which is the show that we watched, Dave. Which
Oh,
is by the
Dave's
artist
so good.
Lil Dicky, which is
I'm
a
gonna
show
rewatch that
that
now.
a show that starts off like very comedic and very solid comedic, and then in its later seasons gets darker and darker.
What would you class
Uh,
Dave as? Because it's more of a drama, right?
Well, it starts off as a comedy and then transforms
'Cause it
into
is,
a drama
yeah,
over time, which is, but it's still comedic.
Luke, have you watched Dave?
I haven't.
I've-
No.
I'm pretty sure we tried to get you to watch it, right?
Well,
I
people
do-
are put off by the fact that it's a TV
It
show.
is.
It's a little dicky, but
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
not
yeah.
ironically
Look, once
an
you get past,
incredible
once you
leeway
get
on
past
TV show.
that whole part, obviously, which is kind of
Yeah.
the whole main show. Once you get past it, it's actually really good.
But most people I recommend it to just
Um,
refuse to watch it, and I can't really
I-
argue with them. But it's just a
I
well
would
made show.
say-
as well.
I would
Luke,
say
I veto you from refusing to watch it.
Okay.
Yeah.
honestly,
You
Marcus,
can't do anything about that.
I would watch it. I've just got there's
much
so
to
many things that I'm
No,
supposed to be
trust
watching.
me,
at the
I
moment.
know that is
Um,
that is the other thing with TV shows is like why films are sometimes they were like
Picking one.
nicer. Is just because like that's like a downside to
pick-
TV shows
nah.
is like you watch so like there's
I mean,
so many.
But
Um,
picking a film is so hard. That's a legit.
But I
film
also
is a
would
legit
say
problem
if
for people
someone
who watch
asked me to
films.
watch a film
That's
and then
why
someone asked me
people-
to watch a TV show, I think I'd probably watch the TV show, even though
Oh,
the
it's 'cause-
film's shorter. Just in my head, it feels like
um,
I would rather watch the TV
It's
show
'cause-
because it's like less attention span.
It's because picking a film is it's like hard,
And it is
man.
so hard to pick a film, like
Picking a
because
film's
you
hard.
want to make sure it's a good film. Otherwise, you're just like wasting your like time with 2.5 hours. Like with a TV show, at least you have the chance to
And
kind of
there's so,
like
there's so many.
get a couple episodes in.
what
and a feel
what
for
I
it.
would say is talking about like dark comedy. It seems to me that like a lot of stuff is dark comedy now, and I feel like dark comedy is on a real it's having its like
Wait, you're
real
lagging.
time in the sunshine in terms of creative media, because we look at like all of the top shows at the moment, and they're kind of all dark comedy. I would even say going back to the more original
I mean,
TV shows, and I wonder what you think about that. I think maybe what I would say about that is it's maybe the most comfortable place for a writer to be
Would
in,
you-
and I think it also makes for a TV show because for like the best type of TV show, because it gives the levity of the ability to kind of write jokes, but it also gives the comfort of drama. And I think drama, as we say, I think it's easier to write than comedy, way easier to write.
what is
But
it
you also
I
need
actually
that
have
level.
It's
I have
not-
one last question as well, by the way.
is dark comedy different from like you're talking about a comedy that's like also a drama, right? Not like
Yeah, I mean,
But,
for
like, what
examples,
would always Sunny be? Because that's a
That's a dark
that's
comedy.
a dark comedy because the jokes are dark.
Yeah,
See,
It's not dramatic.
like
Nah,
I
it's
mean,
not dramatic.
I
Well,
think
it's
that would
kind of
Not
be.
drama.
dramatic, but it's
Well,
not.
yeah, but
It's not
it's
drama.
not
No.
a drama. Yeah,
I think maybe that would be like a
because that is
Yeah,
a
I
dark
mean that would
comedy,
be like a traditional
Well, that's just a dark comedy
comedic dark
sitcom, though,
comedy.
isn't it?
But I would, yeah, that would be a dark comedy sitcom. I think what we're seeing at the moment is a lot of dark comedy dramas. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, like
for
actual like
example, like
drama
The
shows.
Boys,
Succession
or
is
or
hilarious.
The
Theirs
Boys
is
is kind of
more
dark
even
humor
stuff
as
like
more
well.
of
The
a
Bear
drama.
or
Like The
Succession.
Boys, right? You would
The
class that as
Um,
a
Boys
dark
is
humor
yeah.
drama.
I don't know how if I would call The Boys that funny, but
No, not funny,
yeah,
but
but
like dark. Oh, I guess yeah, dark humor. Yeah,
I mean, even if you look at something like I just cut out, but I mentioned it. But like,
yeah.
The Bear, for example, that's
yeah,
like technically a comedy show, but that's I would class that as a drama.
yeah,
And maybe there's a different like term for it. Maybe it's not dark comedy is what I'm looking for, but there's a kind of I feel like the comedy and drama world. I mean, Barry, for another example, is a good
yeah,
example. Have kind of like almost merged into one, and I think it's
I
because
guess Afterlife as well.
drama
Is that
drama
that's
and
not comedy,
comedy.
is it?
Yeah, Afterlife is a good example as
Afterlife
well.
Yeah.
is yeah,
Drama and comedy, I think, are kind of in my opinion, and I guess this getting into more kind of philosophical art like spectrum, but I would almost say comedy and drama are almost the same genre. um like in a weird way. um or at least tragedy, like tragedy and comedy, going back to like Shakespeare. And I think that's really interesting. That's what I'm really interested in. That's why I think dark comedy draws to me, because this idea of uh um the confusion between the two. I really like writing.
God, my
And
chair.
oh,
Jesus.
wait, what just
Sorry.
happened?
My chair just keeps like clicking and it like sends
making
me
so much
flying back.
background noise.
Nah, it was because like I was just like leaning back and then it just clicked and then like I just shat myself for a second, like panic. It's done that twice now, so I'm just carry on, Luke.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean,
mixing
I
those
guess what would you
genres.
pick up on that? Because one of my favorite quotes, and I can't remember where it's from, but I really like the saying. It's like comedy is tragedy plus time. And I think that's what really appeals me to like dark comedy. The idea that it is like you're writing drama, you're writing tragedy, but with a lens that puts it into a perspective that makes it more accessible, I guess.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I just said a lot of shit there. Um, I
Nah,
rambled a bit, but I wonder if you pick up on any of that as like from your writing style. Because that's where I kind of come from when I'm writing these fucked up things, or these like going down these like drama paths, but wanting the comedy angle of them. You know?
Yeah, yeah, I definitely feel like that would be my preferred genre if I was to. I don't know, even for TV as well. You got films like In Bruges, which are very like dark and funny. I definitely would. I would say that is one of the most appealing genres to me for
Yeah,
consuming as well as just
yeah. I mean, yeah.
yeah.
I also have
Oh
a
yeah, you said
last
you had another
question to
question. Yeah,
well, this is we
let's
can
do
have this to
your
finalize it.
let's do your question and then we'll end it. So it better be a
Yeah.
good
All right,
question. There's a
this
lot of
question's for you
questions.
two.
A lot
I
of
mean,
questions.
it's not like a good question,
Well,
but
you've hyped it
it's
up
just
so much
if
now.
you
So.
was to choose to be in a writer's room for one thing, it could be like a TV show or film, like any film like that's been produced. I mean, obviously, I don't know if films have writer room. I don't know if that's just strictly TV shows, but
I
like
think
you know
it's
what I mean.
a TV show thing, but yeah,
But like,
yeah.
if you could like say write a film or something, or like be like the main leader in a writer's room or something, yeah, what would you choose and like why?
Is this like a current
It can be
project that
any film,
exists,
any
or
film, any
anything
TV
from all
show,
time?
or it can be anything anything in the film industry. I just kind of want to know like what you would choose and
Okay,
why.
yeah.
But like kind of like why you would choose it for your own writing.
Oh, just give me something in the MCU, man. Just like
Yeah,
You'd choose something in the MCU.
no, I was kind of joking, but I would. It would be
Yeah, I
very.
was gonna
It
say.
would be very interesting to, and as someone that's like grown up with the comic books and
Like, what would you just love to
all of
write?
that, it would be
Like something that you wish you could have wrote. Like, what
I
would you like?
think
everything everywhere all at once is is what I want to write.
To be fair, yeah.
I
Like,
think
is that like your inspiration? You want to do like kind of stuff like
Yeah,
that?
that's the perfect for me. That's the perfect example of a dark comedy. It's so
Yeah.
like like nihilistic, and that's how I want to write films. I want to write nihilistic and dark, but like funny and stupid and weird films like that. That's why I love the Daniels.
No, that's fair. Makes sense. And Luke, what would yours be?
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying about that, Kieran. That's that like everything everywhere all at once. The being on that, like writing, the kind of freedom of that kind of writing is so interesting.
Yeah,
Just because of how expansive you can be, and the kind of absurdist angle of a script like
Oh,
that.
you like an after?
I think for me, I'm just gonna kind of pick a TV show that I love. I would say I would have loved to be on the Succession writing crew. It's kind of like all of my interests combined.
yeah.
It's got the dark comedy, but it's also
Political and
political and
yeah.
and also I think it's like the perfect balance between the drama and the comedy.
Yeah.
Where but also I mean. You say something like that, but also that
Always Sunny is my dream. Actually, I want to be on that.
I mean, Always Sunny would be
obviously, but then I'm
almost-
also speaking from like not like acting, like
yeah.
what I would
purely
say
just like
with,
writing. That's why I figured.
what I would say with Sunny, Kieran, is almost. I wonder, like, Sunny is like so much, like Rob McElhenney, Glenn Howerton, and Charlie Day's thing. That like I almost wonder like how other writers interact with that,
like
like
if another
writer's
writer
room,
came in,
because
like,
it's like so their
the reason
creation.
it's so good is
well,
because
there's
literally
definitely
their, like, ideas.
there are other writers that are like that were in it from the start, right? Like the at
Yeah.
cricket,
Yeah.
David
I mean, I think that would just be a really interesting experience,
Yeah,
being in
that
that
would be
writing,
interesting.
being with such like strong
Well-
characters.
because they're literally acting writers as well. So
Yeah,
it's like not
because
something you
I mean they
experience.
are the show.
So they're literally like writing.
That's
it,
what I
so
did my
how they act.
dissertation about. Is like how they. I think they're acting. They're like they know how to play these characters, and
Yeah.
that means they know
Like,
how to write
perfectly.
them the best. And I just find
Yeah,
it so
like,
interesting.
it's like it just makes so much sense for them to like kind of like. That's why it's probably so successful. Is
Yeah.
because the acting's so good in the way of
I
like
wonder
their
if-
characters.
I wonder if when they write, they actually do like. Write
They probably
their own
act in their
characters.
characters. I
would-
reckon.
I would think
like
100% they do
yeah.
that.
Because
Yeah.
I'm sure there's other cases of like
because that's how they
other-
probably experience how
them
they
writing each
interact and
other's
stuff.
characters and stuff
Yeah.
as well. But
Well,
know-
they interact so well.
I think we should get them on the podcast. and ask them.
yeah, we should.
Um,
they should
Yeah,
be on
so if
next.
the Always
We'll
Sunny
bring them on
podcast,
next.
if you want to,
Yeah.
come on as our guests, we would definitely
Well,
appreciate that.
Before we end this podcast, just to flip this question on you, Marcus, and I'm gonna say,
What
I'm
what would
gonna-
I film?
if you could, be a cinematographer, DOP for any piece of media that's not a war film, what would you?
Yeah, I'll probably say
Like TV show or film,
anything
anything. Same question you
would
asked.
be Harry Potter.
Harry Potter. That's
The Harry Potter series.
interesting.
That's interesting.
I just think
I think
it would
it's
just
very
be so fun
cool.
to film like Harry Potter
Yeah.
and be on those sets. Like I think just being like a like
I thought you were going to say something for its shots, which Harry Potter's not as well known for its cinematography, but
that's why
I guess
that's why
just
I
being
would want to
set
do it.
generally,
That's what I mean. No,
Yeah,
that's
well-
why like I would do it is because like I'd want to put like I'm thinking of like what I would want to put my creative like
yeah,
aspect on.
interesting.
Like I'd love to like
Well-
film Harry Potter in like the way I'd like want it to be like in my eyes and like
Yeah.
I don't know.
well, the
I just think
third,
it'd be really
the third Harry Potter film is
yeah. If I was to choose one of the films just to make it easier, it'd probably be. I mean, I think at this point I'm just picking my favorite film, but it would probably be Goblet of Fire.
yeah.
Actually,
Well-
definitely Hallows Part.
Do you
1
have
or
a
2.
film? Do you have a film, Marcus? That
But
like
if it's not if it's not a film series, just to save some time, probably the film I would choose would be. Oh fuck! There's so many war films that's in my head right now. Though.
What's interesting is that
Saving Private Ryan. I know it's a war film, but fuck it.
what's interesting is for if I was to be asked that question, like if I was to film something, I feel like it would be interesting to do like what you said for Harry Potter, but to put your own spin on like an MCU film. Whereas obviously,
Well, that's what I mean,
I
like-
definitely wouldn't choose that as a writer because I know writers
Do
don't get a
you-
lot of leeway for.
Yeah. I mean,
it's one of the
obviously,
worst
like
things to pick, but it would be interesting to like take something like that and put your own spin
would
on
like
it.
to see
Marcus,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have a film that you've seen that you like look at in a kind of like from a cinematographer's perspective and go, that is exactly the type of cinematography I want to do? That's like not even like necessarily a film that you love, or I mean, I guess you would love it if you really respect
Uh,
the cinematography, but like an example of a film or shots that you've seen that like is your type of cinematography, and the
See, like
cinematography that
the
you
thing
really
is,
like.
got like a show that like I don't like the show that much, but I love the cinematography, and it is Euphoria. Like
Yeah,
obviously the show's all right. Like I don't, but the cinematography in that, like obviously like a lot of people do say like it's really not. Like, I love the cinematography.
Marcus, we all know, me and
That
Luke
type of
know
colours.
that the truth that you would, if you could pick anything, you would 100% pick Team Wolf.
Oh, bro, nah. Team All's great. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's like that's more of a guilty pleasure of mine. That's not
Yeah,
like
but you could bring your
It's not like.
cinematography expertise to
Nah,
it.
I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't want it for that. That's just a guilty pleasure. That's not something like I don't think it's done like very well. Like I don't think it's like the best TV show of all time. It's just one that I just really enjoy. But like if I was like to actually pick a film, like it would either Euphoria filming style is what I like. That's why I liked your film, Kieran, because of like the blues and the reds and
Yeah.
like obviously the colors that they use is like similar to kind of Euphoria, like that kind of coloring
Mm.
in a way. But the other film would be uh, it would probably be Blade Runner
yeah,
Blade Runner
2049.
is one of the
nice.
nicest looking
I
films.
just think like cinematic wise, like
Yeah, yeah. It is
cinematography,
like one of the
that's like
most cinematic
the
Yeah,
peak of my cinema. Like
Yeah.
that is like
yeah.
orgasmic
You know,
cinematography.
all the
Like
color
I
grading,
love
like
that
all
cinematography,
the
and it's all the
all the
color grading
coloring's
wasn't
in
even
camera.
editing; it was all
Yeah.
in the camera, which is
That's
like
crazy.
just like that. And
Well,
obviously, my
it's
biggest like
Roger Deakins,
cinematographer
man.
inspiration is
Yeah.
obviously Roger
Well,
Deakins.
this is
So like,
our first episode, so if you want any more of this while you wait, go listen to the Roger Deakins podcast because
it's true
Yeah.
because that
good.
podcast will teach you a lot,
Yeah.
and
He
it's
And
taught me
that
a
that
lot.
is
yeah,
really
and
equivalent to this
yeah,
podcast.
exactly. Well,
We're
same level
basically,
of
to be honest, I actually would say
We're,
we're a little bit better just because we got
yeah.
that. We've, there's three of us. We've got that little
yeah.
bit
I
more
mean,
There's only
experience than
two
him.
of them. Yeah,
So obviously, yeah, like when you speak experience wise, we
yeah.
obviously like overthrow that. But
Well,
I'd
so
say it's
what's
a pretty good
interesting about
podcast.
what will be interesting about our podcast is that we can bring people on that are more knowledgeable than us, and we will learn from them as as the listeners will. You know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I mean, I think I like the fact that realistically, we have as much filmmaking credibility or standing as anyone does. You know, at the moment, we're nothing in the film industry.
Yeah.
Um, and
Yeah.
that's
But
what
who
we're trying
knows?
to
Like,
that's what we're trying to do.
there's three of us, so maybe on the 50th episode, one of us will be incredibly successful, and then it'll be worth
Exactly.
listening to. And you want to see our journey, you know, you want to find out if that happens. Just like a
Yeah,
TV show, man. You got to watch our character
exactly.
development rather than Roger Deakins, who you're seeing, who a character that's fully developed already. And
yeah, he
Yeah,
was already fully developed. This
yeah,
is
yeah,
our
yeah,
developing stage.
yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, hopefully you all enjoyed, and
Yeah,
we'll have
Marcus, do our
another
outro for
episode.
us.
We'll have another episode soon. So yeah, just make sure. Wait, I don't even know how you end podcasts because like.
No, I think you're doing perfectly, mate.
Do
Yeah,
you put it
I
on?
think I think you were actually doing
What would it be
perfectly
on? Like,
until you said I don't know how to
no,
end
because
it.
I
Well,
was thinking like, what do you put on? Like, do you put it on
we'll
Spotify?
be on everything. We'll be
We'll
on
be on
Because you
everything.
like,
Spotify,
I was
Apple
gonna say like,
Podcasts,
just make sure you like and
YouTube.
subscribe. But I was
Yeah,
also
yeah.
thinking
If
like,
you're on YouTube, then like and
I don't know
subscribe.
what to say because like I don't know
On
who's watching
YouTube,
it
I
or
can't
what.
remember.
But either way, just follow us, keep us updated because we'll be posting more and we'll be trying to share our journey on filmmaking and yeah, hopefully we can give you some valuable information on how to get into the film industry, even though we haven't ourselves. But
Yeah. And just
yeah,
remember that we're absolute beginners, fresh out of uni. But
hence why our name is Early Life Crisis.
yeah, and
Yeah,
if that doesn't interest you, then skip to like the 20th episode where we have.
yeah. Go watch
Yeah,
Deakins.
give it a
Yeah,
couple episodes and we'll have some experience, hopefully.
yeah. But we'll
Yeah,
hopefully bring on people that know a bit more than us that
yeah,
can be. Yeah.
Oh, we
yeah.
will. We'll have
We've got
And
a
numerous guests
few.
in
also
the
people that
future.
are in the same position as us, but from
Yeah,
different roles, like
a
sound,
few really
music.
interesting people that can tell us a lot about
Yeah,
their kind of experiences and yeah, we're
yeah.
And yeah, if
we're
anyone out
really
there has
interested
got
in.
their own personal experiences, yeah,
And
definitely
I
make
think the
sure
great
you
thing about
contact
filmmaking,
us and we'll try and get you as a guest.
I think the great thing about filmmaking on a kind of final note, I guess, is it's such a community Like it's the most community based artwork, I think. And we really want to, like, we're interested in that community and the different people that live inside that community. So yeah, more to
true.
come.
But yeah, right. Well,
in a bit.
thank you for
Okay,
watching
that's
and
enough.
listening, and
That's
fuck you all. And
Whoa, this is supposed to be
you
professional.
know, don't antagonize me.
fuck all your mums.
Okay?
Whoa, Marcus, cut that.
Yeah.
Hold on.
See you guys.
Yeah, I think that's good. Yeah.